Kara Elizabeth Walker is an American contemporary painter, silhouettist, printmaker, installation artist, and filmmaker who explores race, gender, sexuality, violence, and identity in her work. Walker was born in Stockton, California in 1969. At the age of 13, she moved to Atlanta, Georgia, where her father took a teaching position at Georgia State University. The move from California to a part of the country with more pronounced racial divisions had a profound effect on the artist. Around 1993, Kara Walker began to make caricature-like ink drawings and paintings that incorporated black paper cutouts. At this early stage in her artistic career, Walker took on the role of a satirist, which allowed her to critique subjects as far-reaching as the civil rights movement, feminism, poverty, education, modernism, and the art world. After receiving a BFA from the Atlanta College of Art in 1991, Walker moved to Providence, Rhode Island to pursue an MFA at the Rhode Island School of Design. During her time there, significant changes in race, politics were happening in America. While Walker's early works did not specifically illustrate these political and social events, her satirical use of pre-Civil War images and language presented a biting commentary on the fragile status of civil rights and freedom of speech in American society. To create a silhouette, Walker draws her images with a white grease pencil or soft pastel crayon on large pieces of black paper, which she then cuts with an X-Acto knife. As she composes the imagery, she thinks in reverse in a way, because she needs to flip the cutouts over when assembling the final work. This reversal, an illusion to cast a shadow or mirrored image, echoes the nature of the silhouette as both alluring and deceptive. The cut pieces are then adhered to paper, canvas, wood, or directly to the gallery wall with wax. Then, in 1994, she created her first large-scale tableau called Gone, an historical romance of a civil war as it occurred between the dusky thighs of one young negress and her heart. This imposing gathering of a cartoon-like characters such as the innocent Southern belle aiming for a kiss from a gentleman creates the illusion of a polite pre-Civil War romance. This 50-foot-long piece, consisting of black cut paper silhouettes that are slightly larger than life-size, is installed as a panoramic mural reminiscent in scale of the historical cycloramas that emerged in the late 18th and early 19th centuries. In the work's elaborate title, Gone, refers to Margaret Mitchell's 1936 novel Gone with the Wind, set during the American Civil War. While Walker's narrative begins and ends with coupled figures, the chain of tragicomic, disturbing imagery refutes the promise of romance and confounds conventional attributions of power and oppression. She devised the artwork for the viewer to reflect upon the love, evil, and pain on which America was built upon. Early on, critics acknowledged this double nature in her work, describing her aesthetic as looking like a cross between a children's book and a sexually explicit cartoon. However, this tension that Walker created was to be expected. However, Walker wanted her drawings to go beyond shock value and evoke a response from her audience. Then in 2016, she created Slaughter of the Innocents, they might be guilty of something, which is among Walker's first large-scale composition mounted on canvas. Currently displayed at the MFA in Houston, it raises questions still today. The slaughter of the innocents in the Bible alludes to the killing of small children. But who are the janitors? And who are the children here? Who are the criminal perpetrators? Who are the innocent victims? She exudes many of these questions into society still today. A young woman holds a large egg or her uterus. An egg is broken, its yolk is spilled, and babies are cut open. That broken egg could have been hatched by a young girl running away from a devilish creature who wants to kill or rape her. Up and down is mixed, as innocence can be turned into guilt. A snake, traditionally a symbol of guilt, looks phallic in the hand of a young, naked black woman. The actions of the creatures clipped by the sides of the piece are particularly ambiguous. A couple upside down at the top, cut off at the waist, could be having sex, or not. The piece itself seems to have been cut from a large piece as a statement from the artist that the work exists independently of her, as if she had brought one piece of that reality to the audience as best as she could. Through her art, she has millions of questions in and of itself. She desired not for the viewer to watch idly, rather to start internal conflict within the viewer. The black silhouettes are meant for people to see their own shadows. Yes, a piece of paper it may be, however, to some extent, the purity and righteousness of each individual are questioned.